If I gave you $10 million today, but told you that tomorrow morning you would not wake up, would you take the money? Of course not. Why? Because deep down you know something more valuable than money, your time. Yet isn't it strange that we guard our money carefully, but we let our time slip away as if it were endless? The truth is, time is the greatest wealth you will ever possess, and how you use it will determine everything about your life, your success, and your legacy. Time is the one resource every human being is given at birth, yet it is the most undervalued treasure in the world. People often believe money is their greatest asset, but money can be earned, lost, and earned again. Possessions can be bought, sold, replaced, or upgraded. Even opportunities, when lost, sometimes return in another form. But time does not obey these same rules. It is not renewable, it cannot be stored, and it cannot be regained once it has slipped through your fingers. Every second that ticks away is gone forever, and in that simple truth lies the greatest wealth and the greatest poverty a person can experience. The wealthiest individual is not the one with the largest bank account, but the one who understands the priceless value of each hour and chooses to spend it wisely. Think about this carefully. When you waste money, you can find a way to replace it. If you waste food, you can go out and buy more. But if you waste a day, you cannot buy it back, no matter how rich or powerful you are. Time is not for sale, it cannot be borrowed from tomorrow, and it cannot be negotiated with. This makes it the rarest and most precious form of wealth you will ever own. What makes this even more powerful is the fact that every person on earth receives it equally. No matter how influential, famous, or ordinary, everyone is granted the same 24 hours in a day. The only difference between those who achieve greatness and those who remain trapped in mediocrity is how they choose to use those hours. When people place their trust solely in money, they are often blinded by the illusion that wealth itself is freedom. Yet history is filled with individuals who were financially rich but spiritually bankrupt because they wasted the time that could have been spent on growth, relationships, and impact. True freedom comes not from hoarding dollars but from directing hours. Time is life itself, and to misuse it is to slowly drain the very essence of your existence. Money can add comfort, but time defines meaning. If you wish to measure your life, do not count the money in your wallet. Count the quality of hours you have invested in becoming better, building deeper connections, and creating something that lasts. Consider those who complain they have no time. The reality is not that they lack time, but that they fail to recognize its value. They trade hours for distractions, waste mornings in procrastination, and sacrifice evenings to meaningless entertainment. Every hour spent thoughtlessly is an invisible debt that cannot be repaid. On the other hand, those who treasure time treat each hour like a golden coin that must be spent with care. They invest it in knowledge, in action, in building habits, in pursuing dreams. Over time, the compound effect of wisely invested hours turns into extraordinary success, while wasted hours leave nothing but regret. Every human being is gifted the same 24 hours in a day. Yet what separates the achiever from the dreamer, the leader from the follower, and the fulfilled from the regretful, is the way those hours are used. Time is the great equalizer. It does not discriminate by wealth, race, or social standing. Whether you are a billionaire living in luxury or a laborer working for daily wages, you receive the same deposit of 24 hours at the dawn of each day. No one is granted more and no one is cheated with less. The difference between lives of extraordinary success and lives of quiet desperation lies in the decisions made within those hours. Consider how the same 24 hours can produce drastically different outcomes. One person spends their time engaged in learning, disciplined practice, meaningful work, and purposeful connections, while another squanders it in distractions, excuses, and idle comfort. At the end of a week, a month, or a year, the gap between them is undeniable. One has moved forward, built momentum, and created progress, while the other remains stuck, frustrated by the illusion that life is unfair. The truth is that both were given the same measure of time, but only one understood its true potential. Time by itself has no value until it is put to use. An hour can be wasted in complaint or invested in solutions. A morning can vanish in sleep or be transformed into progress through discipline. Even a single minute can alter a life if spent in a decisive action, a courageous choice, or a moment of reflection that sparks a breakthrough idea. Those who master their time master their destiny, because they take what every other human already has and turn it into something greater through conscious choice. Excuses are the common refuge of those who fail to value their hours. They say they lack time, yet they spend endless hours on activities that bring no growth. They say they will begin tomorrow, yet tomorrow arrives only to repeat the pattern of delay. Meanwhile, Those who achieve greatness refuse to believe they lack time. They know that time is not something you find. It is something you create by eliminating distractions, setting priorities, and focusing on what matters most. The disciplined use of hours, not the quantity of them, is what transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary leaders. At the end of each day, life delivers the same question: how did you spend your 24 hours? Did you trade them for regrets, or did you invest them in a vision that pulls you closer to your dream? Success is not about luck, and it is not about circumstance. It is about deliberate choices made moment by moment, hour by hour, until those hours accumulate into habits, and those habits shape the future. The difference between greatness and mediocrity is never the amount of time given, but the wisdom with which it is used. Idleness and excuses are the greatest thieves of time, silently draining the wealth of life from those who surrender to them. When a person chooses idleness, they convince themselves that comfort is safety, that waiting is strategy, and that inaction is somehow harmless. Yet each idle hour is an opportunity buried, a dream delayed, and a future weakened. Excuses are even more destructive because they disguise themselves as reasons. They sound logical, they feel justified, but in reality, they are chains that bind potential and prevent a person from stepping into growth. Together, idleness and excuses form a partnership that guarantees mediocrity, leaving a trail of regret for anyone who allows them to dominate their days. The habit of idleness is subtle. It begins with procrastination, the decision to put off action until a more convenient time. Then it evolves into distraction, where attention is constantly scattered on things that have no true value. Eventually, it hardens into apathy, where the drive to achieve is completely eroded. A life consumed by idleness is not neutral. It is a life that actively moves backward, because while you wait, the world keeps moving forward. Opportunities vanish, competitors advance, and dreams grow cold. Those who understand the value of time know that idleness is not rest, it is decay. Excuses are the language of delay. They offer comfort in the moment, but destruction in the long term. People say they do not have the resources, but history is filled with those who started with nothing yet built empires from perseverance. They say they are too tired, too busy, or too old, but every excuse hides the truth, a lack of commitment to the vision they claim to want. Excuses give permission to waste time while pretending that circumstances are to blame. The reality is that excuses protect comfort zones, but comfort zones never produce greatness. In contrast, purposeful action, even if small, builds momentum and creates progress. A single step forward shatters idleness and weakens the grip of excuses. Action proves to the mind that progress is possible, and progress fuels belief, which in turn inspires more action. This cycle transforms wasted time into productive investment. Every hour spent working toward a goal compounds into growth, and over time the difference between those who act and those who wait becomes undeniable. Those who abandon idleness and silence their excuses unlock a power that cannot be measured in hours alone. They achieve clarity, discipline, and resilience because each action, no matter how small, reaffirms their commitment to a purposeful life. They no longer trade their hours for temporary comfort, but invest them in building a foundation for success. Idleness steals silently, excuses deceive loudly, but both can be defeated by decisive action. When a person chooses discipline over delay, effort over excuse, and persistence over comfort, they convert wasted hours into stepping stones of achievement, and that transformation is the very essence of building abundance. There will never be a perfect time to begin. Waiting for the right circumstances, the right mood, or the right alignment of events is the greatest illusion that robs people of their potential. Life is never without obstacles, challenges, or uncertainties. If you believe that someday everything will fall into place before you act, you will wait forever. The truth is that conditions will always seem imperfect, because the mind can always find reasons to delay. Courage is not acting when everything is easy. It is acting despite difficulty, despite uncertainty, despite fear. The present moment is the only time you truly own, and the present moment is always the right time to begin. Opportunities rarely announce themselves in loud voices or in perfect packages. More often, they come disguised as hard work, risk, or discomfort. Those who hesitate hoping for a clearer path watch opportunities slip by while others seize them. The difference between success and regret is not the possession of opportunity, but the willingness to act when it appears. Action creates clarity, not waiting. By stepping forward, even into uncertainty, you begin to discover the path. By sitting still, you learn nothing, you gain nothing, and you remain where you are. Perfectionism is one of the most deceptive forms of procrastination. People believe they must first have the perfect plan, the perfect skill set, or the perfect moment to act. But no plan survives contact with reality unchanged. No skill improves without practice. No moment becomes perfect by waiting. It is only through action that skills are sharpened, plans are refined, and moments gain their meaning. The person who dares to begin imperfectly accomplishes more than the one who waits for flawless timing. Progress belongs to the doers, not the dreamers. Life rewards momentum. A small step taken today often leads to doors that would never have opened had you stayed still. Each action reveals new options, new knowledge, and new strength. Those who dare to act discover that confidence is not a prerequisite for action, but a result of it. Confidence grows through effort, not before it. Clarity grows through experience, not before it. The path unfolds only as you walk it. The habit of waiting for the perfect time is built on fear. The fear of failure, of judgment, of discomfort. Yet failure is a teacher, judgment fades quickly, and discomfort is temporary. What remains is the progress you make by refusing to wait. History does not remember those who delayed, it remembers those who dared. Every invention, every discovery, every achievement was born not because the time was perfect, but because someone acted when it was not. The clock does not pause for hesitation. Each day that passes is either an investment in your growth or a withdrawal into regret. The right time is not promised, and tomorrow is never guaranteed. The only certainty is this moment, this hour, this day, and those who act now seize the only chance that truly exists. Each day you wake is like receiving a fresh deposit of time placed directly into your hands. 24 golden hours are entrusted to you, no more and no less, and what you do with them determines the trajectory of your life. Unlike money, which can be saved or borrowed, time must be spent immediately. Every hour that passes is an hour withdrawn from your account, never to return. The wealth of time is unique because it is both abundant and fragile. Abundant because each new sunrise brings a full deposit, fragile because no one knows how many deposits remain. This truth gives every day an urgency that cannot be ignored. Time is wealth in its purest form, and yet many people treat it as if it were endless. They squander mornings in distraction, afternoons in idleness, and evenings in meaningless activities, forgetting that each moment carries a cost. When time is invested wisely, it multiplies, producing knowledge, progress, relationships, and fulfillment. When time is wasted, it disappears quietly, leaving behind nothing but regret. The decision rests entirely in your hands. You are the steward of your hours, and the quality of your future is written by the way you choose to spend them today. Imagine if banks deposited $4,000 into your account every morning with the rule that whatever you did not spend by midnight would vanish forever. Would you let those dollars go unused? Would you allow them to disappear while you sat idle, promising to use them tomorrow? Of course not. You would use them carefully, making sure that none of them were wasted. Yet this is exactly what happens with time each day, and unlike money, lost hours cannot be recovered or replenished. They are gone permanently, and their absence shapes the story of your life. Those who understand the value of time treat their hours as sacred currency. They invest them in learning, in creating, in building habits that serve their future. They dedicate moments to relationships that nourish their soul and work that strengthens their character. Even leisure, when chosen wisely, becomes an investment in rest and renewal, allowing greater productivity when work resumes. Everything they do is chosen with intention because they recognize that every hour spent is an hour invested or an hour wasted. On the other hand, those who fail to see time as wealth fall into the trap of careless spending. They let distraction control their schedule, giving away hours to trivialities that hold no lasting value. They convince themselves that tomorrow will offer more time, forgetting that tomorrow's deposit is not guaranteed. The wealth of time, unlike financial wealth, is not something you can count or measure in advance. You only know how much of it you have already spent, never how much remains. Each day is a gift of opportunity disguised as hours. Within those hours lies the power to change your circumstances, pursue your dreams, and create a legacy. Every deposit of time you receive is a chance to either build your future or abandon it, to invest in growth or to throw it away in neglect. What you choose to do with today's hours will echo in the story of your life long after the deposit is gone. True wealth has never been measured by the size of a bank account, the luxury of possessions, or the recognition of society. While these things may bring comfort, they are temporary and fragile, often disappearing with a change in fortune or a shift in circumstances. Real wealth is measured by the way you live your hours and the meaning you create with your time. It is found in the impact you make, the relationships you nurture, the growth you experience, and the legacy you leave behind. The essence of life is not in accumulating things, but in investing your time in what gives life significance. A person who spends their time chasing material possessions may find momentary satisfaction, but sooner or later emptiness creeps in. A car, a house, or even a fortune cannot bring fulfillment if they are pursued without purpose. On the other hand, someone who spends their time wisely, pouring it into personal growth, service to others, and meaningful experiences, feels a richness that cannot be measured in currency. They understand that money can purchase things, but time, when invested in purpose, purchases meaning. Consider the difference between leaving behind possessions and leaving behind a legacy. Possessions deteriorate, get sold, or become outdated. A legacy, however, lives on in the hearts and minds of others. It is carried forward in the wisdom you share, the kindness you give, the examples you set, and the dreams you inspire. This type of wealth is not dependent on economic conditions or external approval. It is created solely by how you spend your time. Every hour is an opportunity to either build a shallow life centered on things or to construct a meaningful life centered on values, contribution, and growth. True wealth is also reflected in the quality of your relationships. You may hold riches in your hands, but if you are alone, unloved, or disconnected, your life will feel impoverished. Investing time in those who matter, in building trust, in listening and giving, and in supporting others creates bonds that money can never buy. A person who values time knows that giving attention, presence, and care is far more valuable than any material gift. The wealth of love, respect, and shared memories is a fortune that no circumstance can diminish. Personal growth is another form of true wealth. When you dedicate your time to learning, to expanding your abilities, and to strengthening your character, you create value that no one can take away. Skills can be used to generate opportunities, wisdom can guide you through challenges, and character sustains you when everything else fails. These are the treasures built not by spending money, but by investing time in yourself. At the end of life, people rarely wish they had earned more money. They wish they had spent more time with family, taken more risks, created more memories, or pursued their passions more fully. This truth reveals that wealth is not external but internal, and it is measured by how you chose to spend the hours entrusted to you. Those who spend their time on love, growth, purpose, and contribution die rich, regardless of their bank balance. Guarding your hours as though they were a treasure chest of gold is one of the wisest choices you can ever make. Each hour is more valuable than the rarest jewel, because while jewels can be found, bought, or inherited, an hour of your life can never be replaced once it slips away. Too many people treat time casually, scattering it in every direction as if they possessed an endless supply. They give it away freely to distractions, to unimportant tasks, to the demands of others who do not share their vision. Yet those who understand the weight of time learn to protect it fiercely, for they know that every careless decision to waste an hour is a decision to steal from their own future. The first step to guarding your time is learning to say no. Every commitment you accept, every task you agree to, and every conversation you allow consumes part of your wealth. Many people feel guilty refusing requests, so they surrender their hours to obligations that bring no progress and add no value. But time is too precious to be dictated by guilt or fear of offending others. Saying yes to everything means saying no to your dreams. To guard your time, you must choose carefully what deserves your attention, ensuring that your energy flows only toward the goals and relationships that matter most. Distractions are the silent thieves of time. They arrive disguised as harmless entertainment, endless scrolling, unnecessary gossip, or trivial pursuits. One moment seems small, just a few minutes wasted, but minutes multiply into hours and hours multiply into days. Before long, entire seasons of life are lost to distractions that produced nothing of worth. Guarding your hours requires vigilance, the discipline to recognize when your attention is being stolen, and the strength to redirect it towards something purposeful. A person who eliminates distractions gains the ability to achieve in a year what others struggle to accomplish in a decade. Another way to guard your time is through intentional planning. Without direction, hours slip through your fingers unnoticed, consumed by whatever demands arrive first. But when you begin each day with clarity, knowing what matters most and what must be done, you protect your time from being hijacked by trivialities. A clear plan acts like a shield, blocking out unworthy demands and ensuring your time is invested in building progress. Even the most successful individuals cannot control how much time they are given in life, but they do control how they allocate it, and that control is the difference between mediocrity and greatness. Guarding your hours also means respecting them. If you do not respect your own time, no one else will. When you treat your hours as priceless, others learn to treat them with respect as well. This means setting boundaries, avoiding energy-draining habits, and refusing to allow negativity to consume your days. It means valuing rest when needed, because proper rest fuels productivity, but refusing idleness disguised as rest. To guard your hours is to declare that your future matters too much to be squandered on anything less than meaningful action. Investing your time in growth, relationships, and purpose is the surest way to transform fleeting hours into lasting wealth. Growth gives you the ability to become more than you were yesterday. Relationships enrich your life with connection and meaning, and purpose gives direction to everything you do. When these three areas receive the best of your time, they return rewards far greater than money or possessions ever could. Each is a pillar of a fulfilled life, and neglecting them is the fastest path to emptiness. Growth is the foundation of progress. Every skill you develop, every book you read, every lesson you learn compounds into a storehouse of value that can never be taken from you. Time invested in growth builds confidence, sharpens your mind, and equips you to overcome obstacles that once seemed impossible. Growth does not demand giant leaps. Even small daily investments create transformation. 10 minutes spent learning is worth more than 10 minutes wasted in distraction, because knowledge multiplies while idleness withers. The person who dedicates consistent time to growth finds that opportunities begin to appear naturally, because preparation always attracts possibility. Relationships are another area worthy of your best hours. The quality of your life is deeply tied to the quality of your connections. Time spent with those who uplift you, inspire you, and share your values creates joy that money cannot buy. Simple moments of listening, caring, and being present strengthen bonds that last a lifetime. When storms come, it is relationships that sustain you, not possessions. Giving time to your loved ones is an investment that pays back in love, support, and shared memories. Equally important is the decision to invest less time in relationships that drain you, because guarding your energy is part of valuing your time. Purpose is what gives life meaning. Without purpose, even success feels hollow. Time spent chasing goals that do not align with your deeper calling leaves you restless and unsatisfied. But when you invest your hours in something that matters to you, each day becomes meaningful. Purpose does not always arrive fully formed. It is discovered through action, through testing, through paying attention to what ignites passion within you. Once you find it, pouring time into it creates fulfillment unlike anything else. Every step you take toward your purpose, no matter how small, builds a life of significance. When you bring these three together, growth, relationships, and purpose, you transform your time into something extraordinary. Growth ensures you are always advancing, relationships ensure you are never walking alone, and purpose ensures your journey has meaning. Many squander their hours on distractions that leave no trace, but those who invest in these three areas leave behind a legacy that echoes long after their days are done. Each moment given to growth makes you stronger. Each moment given to relationships makes you richer in love. And each moment given to purpose makes you unforgettable. Your destiny is not determined by chance, fate, or the whims of circumstance. It is shaped moment by the choices you make with your time. Every decision to act, to wait, to focus, or to drift becomes a thread in the fabric of your future. People often speak of destiny as though it were fixed, as though life were already written, and they had no say in the outcome. Yet the truth is that destiny is built, not inherited. Each hour is a tool in your hands, and how you use it determines what kind of life you will build. The idea that time shapes destiny is powerful because it places responsibility where it belongs on you. It is tempting to blame circumstances, to point to luck, to look at the success of others and assume they were simply fortunate. But when you look closer, you find that those who achieve greatness are not the ones who waited for fortune, but the ones who use their hours with discipline and persistence. Destiny favors those who take control of their time, directing it toward growth, work, and vision instead of scattering it carelessly. Consider how habits are formed. A single choice to invest time in learning a skill may seem small, but when repeated daily, it becomes mastery. A single decision to exercise may feel insignificant, but practiced consistently, it becomes health and strength. Every destiny is built from these small choices multiplied over weeks, months, and years. Time, when directed with intention, builds habits, and habits shape character. Character, in turn, defines the destiny of every human being. What you repeatedly do with your hours eventually becomes who you are, and who you are determines where you will go. It is not the number of hours that matters most, but the quality of how they are spent. Two people may live the same number of years, yet one leaves behind a legacy of achievement and fulfillment, while the other leaves behind little more than memories of wasted days. The difference is not in the length of their lives, but in the focus of their time. Some treat hours like dust, scattering them carelessly, while others treat hours like diamonds, cutting and polishing them into something priceless. Those who honor time write their destiny with clarity. Those who waste it allow chance to dictate the story. Every hour you hold is a decision point. You can use it to build your dream or surrender it to distraction. You can invest it in progress or throw it away in delay. Your destiny does not arrive all at once. It is the accumulation of thousands of such decisions, each one stacking upon the other until they form the story of your life. If you desire a future of meaning and success, it will not be handed to you. It must be carved out of the hours you are given. Destiny is not a gift waiting for discovery, but a masterpiece you create with the brushstrokes of your time. At the end of life, no one measures success by the money they earned, the titles they held, or the possessions they owned. What truly defines a life is how time was spent. Every day is a page written in the book of your existence, and when the final chapter closes, that book will not record your wealth, but the choices you made with your hours. Did you invest them in building something meaningful, in growing and serving and loving, in creating a legacy? Or did you waste them in distraction, fear, and regret? The story of your life is written not by what you accumulated, but by how you used the most precious resource ever given to you. Time is the great equalizer, but it is also the greatest judge. It exposes whether you lived with purpose or drifted aimlessly. Someone may appear successful on the surface, surrounded by luxury and recognition. Yet if their time was spent chasing things that never mattered, they end their days empty. Another person may never have great riches, but because they spent their time in love, contribution, and personal growth, they leave behind a legacy that far outlives them. The true definition of wealth is written not on a balance sheet, but on the hearts you touched, the work you accomplished, and the growth you pursued with your hours. When people look back on their lives, their regrets rarely come from what they lacked in possessions. Regret comes from the days they failed to seize, the dreams they abandoned, and the time they wasted. They remember the hours spent in hesitation, when courage was needed, the hours given to trivial distractions when they could have been building their vision, the hours neglected with loved ones who are no longer there. The pain of wasted time is far sharper than the pain of financial loss, because money can return but hours cannot. The truth is that each day you are given is an opportunity to shape how your life will be remembered. When you wake, you are handed a blank page, and by the time you sleep, that page has been written by your actions and choices. The accumulation of these pages becomes the record of your existence. Those who spend their hours with purpose, investing them in growth, relationships, and contribution, create a story worth remembering. Those who allow their hours to slip away unnoticed leave behind a story of wasted potential. Your life is not defined by what you possess, but by what you did with the time entrusted to you. The conversations you had, the lessons you learned, the goals you pursued, the people you loved, and the values you lived by. These are the true measures of a life well spent. When your time runs out, the only question that matters is not how much you owned, but how much you gave, and how deeply you lived, and how wisely you used the hours that could never be replaced. Your hours are your fortune, your days are your investment, and your life is the return. Guard your time. Spend it with intention, and let every moment move you closer to the life you were meant to live. Remember, money can be regained, but time once lost is gone forever. Use it wisely, because time is your true wealth.